1970 to 1998. 28 years. Aerosmith released hit after hit. Dream On, Walk This Way, Sweet Emotion, Janie's Got a Gun. They sold millions of albums, headlined stadiums, became rock legends. But they never had a #1 single on the Billboard Hot 100. Never. Not once. Then, in 1998, they were offered a song for the Armageddon movie, a ballad written by an outside songwriter. Steven Tyler listened to it and said, "No, this isn't Aerosmith. This is too soft, too pop, too safe. We don't do songs like this." But the studio pressured them. The band reluctantly recorded it, thinking it would be a forgettable soundtrack filler. Instead, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing became #1. Stayed there for 4 weeks. Became Aerosmith's biggest hit. And Steven Tyler had to publicly admit, "I was wrong." This is the story of the song Aerosmith rejected that became their crowning achievement, and the humbling lesson that came with success. Before I share this incredible story with you, if you want to discover the real stories behind music's greatest hits, the resistance, the ego, and the unexpected triumphs, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because the story I'm going to tell you today is about what happens when you let go of control and trust someone else's vision. By 1998, Aerosmith had been making music for nearly 3 decades. They'd formed in Boston in 1970, Steven Tyler on vocals, Joe Perry and Brad Whitford on guitars, Tom Hamilton on bass, and Joey Kramer on drums. They'd risen to fame in the 1970s with blues-influenced hard rock. Dream On, their signature ballad, had become a rock anthem. Walk This Way had defined their sound, raw, energetic, rebellious. But the 1980s had been brutal. Drug addiction nearly destroyed the band. Steven Tyler and Joe Perry, nicknamed the Toxic Twins, were so consumed by cocaine and heroin that they could barely function. Joe left the band in 1979. Brad followed in 1981. Aerosmith limped through the early 1980s with replacement members, releasing albums that flopped. By 1984, they were considered a has-been band, a cautionary tale about the dangers of excess. Then came the comeback. Steven and Joe got sober in rehab. They reconciled. The classic lineup reunited in 1985. And in 1986, Run DMC covered Walk This Way, introducing Aerosmith to a new generation. The collaboration became a massive hit, revitalizing both acts. Suddenly, Aerosmith was relevant again. The late 1980s and 1990s were Aerosmith's second golden age. Permanent Vacation in 1987. Pump in 1989. Get a Grip in 1993. Hit after hit. Dude, Looks Like a Lady. Love in an Elevator. Crying. Crazy. Aerosmith became MTV superstars. Their music videos, often featuring Alicia Silverstone and Liv Tyler, Steven's daughter, were in constant rotation. They won Grammys, sold out arenas, became elder statesmen of rock. But there was one thing they'd never achieved, a #1 single on the Billboard Hot 100. They'd come close. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing would later become that song. But before 1998, despite decades of success and dozens of hits, Aerosmith had never topped the chart. It was a strange gap in an otherwise legendary career. In early 1998, Aerosmith was approached by producers of Armageddon, a big-budget disaster film starring Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck. The movie was about a team of oil drillers sent to destroy an asteroid heading toward Earth. It was directed by Michael Bay, known for explosive action and emotional manipulation. The producers wanted a power ballad for the film's emotional climax, a song that would play during the scene where Bruce Willis's character sacrifices himself to save humanity. They commissioned Diane Warren to write the song. Diane was one of the most successful songwriters of the 1990s. She'd written Because You Loved Me for Celine Dion, Unbreak My Heart for Toni Braxton, How Do I Live for LeAnn Rimes. She specialized in big, emotional ballads, songs designed to make you cry in movie theaters. And she was very good at it. Diane wrote I Don't Want to Miss a Thing specifically for Aerosmith. She knew Steven Tyler's voice, powerful, raspy, capable of immense emotion. She knew the band could handle a ballad. Aerosmith had done ballads before, Dream On, Angel, Cryin', and they'd been successful. But I Don't Want to Miss a Thing was different. It was softer, more romantic, more pop than rock. Diane knew it was a risk, But she believed in the song. The producers sent the demo to Aerosmith. Steven Tyler listened to it in his home studio, and his immediate reaction was, "No, this isn't us," Steven said in a later interview, recalling his first impression. "It's too soft, too pop, too safe. We're a rock band. We do loud guitars and attitude. This song is something you'd hear at a wedding. It's not Aerosmith." Joe Perry agreed. "When I heard it, I thought, this is for boy bands. Not for us." The rest of the band felt the same. They'd spent 28 years building an identity as a hard rock band. Songs like Walk This Way and Sweet Emotion were rebellious, loud, unapologetic. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing was gentle, romantic, vulnerable. It didn't fit. Steven called the producers and declined. "Thanks, but we're not interested." But the producers didn't accept no. Armageddon was a massive film with a huge budget. The soundtrack would be everywhere, and they needed Aerosmith's voice. They believed Steven's raspy, emotional delivery was perfect for the song. They pushed back. "Just try it. Record a demo. See how it feels." Aerosmith's management also applied pressure. "Look, you don't have to love it, but it's a major movie. Huge exposure. And Diane Warren wrote it. She knows what she's doing. Just record it. If you hate it, you hate it. But give it a chance." Reluctantly, Steven agreed. "Fine, we'll record it. But I'm not promising anything." The band went into the studio to record I Don't Want to Miss a Thing in early 1998. The atmosphere was professional but detached. They weren't excited. They weren't inspired. They were doing a job. Steven sang the vocals with his usual power, but he later admitted he wasn't emotionally connected to the song. "I was going through the motions," he said. "I was thinking, let's get this over with." Joe Perry played guitar. Tom Hamilton laid down the bass. Joey Kramer handled drums. The production was polished, cinematic, designed to maximize emotional impact. But the band wasn't feeling it. They finished the recording, handed it over to the producers, and moved on. They had other projects, other songs they cared about more. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing was just a soundtrack song, a one-off, forgettable. Then the song was released. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing dropped as a single in June 1998, just before Armageddon hit theaters. Radio stations picked it up immediately. The song was perfect for adult contemporary and pop stations, a huge, emotional ballad with Steven Tyler's unmistakable voice. Within days, it was getting heavy rotation. Aerosmith was stunned. "We thought it would be a minor hit at best," Steven said. "Maybe it would chart for a few weeks and then disappear." But it didn't disappear. It kept climbing. By July 1998, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing had reached the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. By August, it was number 1, and it stayed there for 4 weeks. For consecutive weeks, at number 1. Aerosmith, after 28 years of hits, after decades of success, finally had their first chart-topping single. Steven Tyler was floored. "I couldn't believe it," he said in a 2001 interview. "The song I didn't want to record. The song I thought was too soft, too pop, too not us. That was the song that gave us our first number 1. I felt like an idiot." The song didn't just top the charts. It became a cultural phenomenon. It was played at weddings, at proms, at funerals. It was covered by countless artists. It was nominated for an Academy Award, Best Original Song, and a Grammy, Best Pop Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals. It sold over 2 million copies. And it introduced Aerosmith to a whole new generation of fans. People who'd never listened to Walk This Way, but loved this big, sweeping ballad. Armageddon was a massive box office success, grossing over $553 million worldwide. And I Don't Want to Miss a Thing was inseparable from the film. The song played during the movie's emotional climax, the scene where Bruce Willis's character stays behind to detonate the bomb that will save Earth. Audiences were crying in theaters, and the song amplified that emotion perfectly. Steven Tyler watched the film in a theater during its opening weekend. He sat in the back, wearing sunglasses and a hat, trying to stay anonymous. When the song came on during the climactic scene, he heard people around him crying, sobbing, and he realized, this song works. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. And I almost said no to it. After the success of I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, Steven Tyler had to confront his own ego. In interviews throughout the late 1990s and early 2000s, journalists would ask him about the song. And Steven was remarkably honest. "I was wrong," he said repeatedly. "I let my ego get in the way. I thought I knew what Aerosmith should sound like. But Diane Warren saw something I didn't see. She understood that Aerosmith could do more than just hard rock. And she was right. Joe Perry was similarly reflective. That song proved we could reach people we'd never reached before, he said in a 2005 interview. We've been a rock band for decades. But I Don't Want to Miss a Thing showed us we could connect with people on a different level. It wasn't about volume or attitude. It was about emotion. And we almost turned it down. The success of I Don't Want to Miss a Thing changed Aerosmith's career trajectory. It cemented their status as one of the biggest rock bands in the world. It proved they could still have hits in the late 1990s, when many of their peers were fading. And it opened doors. Suddenly, Aerosmith was being invited to perform at major events. The 1999 Super Bowl halftime show, the 2001 Indianapolis 500, award shows, television specials. They were everywhere. But the song also forced the band to reconsider their identity. For decades, they defined themselves as a hard rock band. Rebellious, loud, anti-establishment. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing didn't fit that identity. It was soft, romantic, mainstream, and yet it was their biggest hit. So what did that mean? Steven Tyler wrestled with this question publicly. Are we a rock band or a pop band? He asked in a 2003 interview. Honestly, I don't know anymore. We've done hard rock. We've done ballads. We've done collaborations with rap artists. We've done it all. And I Don't Want to Miss a Thing proved that we don't have to fit into one box. We can be whatever the song needs us to be. That flexibility became Aerosmith's strength in the 2000s and 2010s. They continued to release albums and tour, playing a mix of hard rock and ballads. They embraced their legacy as a band that could do both. And I Don't Want to Miss a Thing remained a staple of their live shows. Every night, when Steven sang the opening line, I could stay awake just to hear you breathing, the audience sang along. And Steven, who'd once rejected the song, now sang it with genuine emotion. Diane Warren, the songwriter, was vindicated. She believed in the song when Aerosmith didn't. And she'd been right. In a 2010 interview, Diane reflected on the experience. I knew Steven's voice was perfect for that song, she said. I could hear him singing it when I wrote it. But I also knew he might resist it. Rock bands don't always trust outside songwriters. They think we don't understand their sound. But I did understand. I understood that Aerosmith could do more than people expected. And I'm glad they took the chance. Diane and Steven developed a mutual respect after I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. In interviews, Steven always credited her. Diane gave us our biggest hit, he said. She saw something in us that we didn't see in ourselves. And I'll always be grateful for that. The song also became a case study in the music industry about the power of collaboration. For years, rock bands prided themselves on writing their own material. Using an outside songwriter was seen as selling out. But I Don't Want to Miss a Thing proved that collaboration could work, that an outside perspective could unlock something a band couldn't find on their own. Today, over 25 years after its release, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing remains Aerosmith's most played song on streaming platforms. It has over 1 billion streams on Spotify. It's still a wedding favorite. It's still played on radio. And it's still the song that introduced millions of people to Aerosmith. Steven Tyler is now 76 years old. Aerosmith announced their retirement tour in 2023, the Peace Out Farewell Tour. And I Don't Want to Miss a Thing is part of every set list. Every night, Steven sings the song he once rejected. And every night, he's reminded of the lesson it taught him. I learned humility from that song, Steven said in a 2022 interview. I learned that I don't have all the answers. That sometimes someone else knows better than I do. And that's okay. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Diane Warren knew what we needed. And I almost said no because of ego. I'm lucky she didn't give up on us. Joe Perry has also reflected on the song's legacy. It's ironic, he said in 2023. Our biggest hit is a song we didn't write. A song we didn't want. A song we thought betrayed who we were. But it didn't betray us. It expanded us. It showed the world that Aerosmith was more than just hard rock. We could be vulnerable. We could be emotional. And people loved us for it. The story of I Don't Want to Miss a Thing is a reminder that success doesn't always look the way you expect. Aerosmith spent 28 years chasing a #1 single. They tried everything: hard rock, blues rock, power ballads, collaborations. And nothing worked. Then they reluctantly recorded a song they didn't believe in. A song written by someone else. A song that didn't fit their image. And that song became their crowning achievement. It's a lesson in letting go. Letting go of ego. Letting go of control. Letting go of the idea that you always know what's best. Sometimes, the best thing for your career or your life is the thing you're absolutely certain is wrong. And sometimes, the people who see your potential most clearly are the people outside your circle. Aerosmith almost said no to I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. They almost missed the biggest hit of their career because they were too attached to their identity as a rock band. But they took the chance. They recorded the song. And it changed everything. Steven Tyler likes to tell a story about the first time he performed the song live. It was at an awards show in 1998. The audience was packed with music industry executives, artists, and celebrities. Steven was nervous. He wasn't sure how a rock audience would react to such a soft ballad. But when he started singing, the room went silent. People were listening, really listening. And when he finished, the applause was deafening. That's when I knew, Steven said. The song wasn't about rock or pop. It wasn't about hard or soft. It was about emotion. And emotion doesn't have a genre. That's what Diane understood. That's what I didn't understand. And I'm grateful I learned. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing is Aerosmith's legacy. Not because it's their best song. Many fans would argue Dream On or Walk This Way holds that title. But because it's the song that taught them, and their fans, that growth requires vulnerability. That success sometimes means doing the thing you swore you'd never do. And that the best art often comes from letting go of control and trusting someone else's vision. 28 years without a #1 single. And then, finally, success from the song they almost rejected. That's the story of Aerosmith and I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. A story about ego, humility, and the surprising paths to greatness.